At the start of the 5th Allies level in Red Alert, Tanya is being held hostage by the Soviets, and it's our job to sneak her out. To do so, we're given only a single spy, and the best way forwards is to infiltrate the nearby Soviet base, hijack a truck, sneak through the base without being detected, and then rescue her from the prison complex. However, what if that wasn't an option? What if we had to infiltrate the base without the easy route of taking the truck? Would it be possible to sneak past the various dog patrols and reach the prison complex on foot? A few months back, I read a post on the Command & Conquer subreddit by someone who had had trouble with this level as a kid, only to realise that they'd been going about it wrong all these years. This inspired me to have a crack at it myself.
Reinforcements have arrived.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the No Driver's License Challenge for the 5th Allied level in Red Alert. It starts out more or less the same as ever. We're going to move to the bottom right corner here. Wait for these dogs to bypass. Ordinarily, we'd be heading for this truck here, but since we don't know how to drive one, we're going to hang back.
On my way.
You can see when you get close to these dogs, they start sprinting as if they're going to chase after you, but they're scripted a little bit differently to the ones we're going to find later in the level that are a bit more ruthless. These are quite forgiving. You can even walk right up to here and neither of them will bother you. We've got Bigfoot to play us through this level. The best song in all of Red Alert.
On my way.
Head to the south here.
For king and country.
No dogs yet, but what I'm going to do here is scout a little bit ahead and then immediately pull back up to this Tesla Quill while we wait for a patrol to pass. Trying to sneak through this gap here is not a wise move.
For king and country.
With the dog moving off, we can move to the south now and continue making our way through this complex. Dangerously close there. Now the final dog we're going to come across is by far the biggest challenge in this level. We've got one more ahead here. I'm just going to wait for him to move and then I'm going to start scouting to the left. There are 2 dogs in this area. This first one does a circular patrol around the next area of the complex. The one to the south though, the final dog in our path, is going to prove the biggest challenge by far.
Indeed. On my way. Indeed. On my way.
So it's worth explaining that this whole strategy is highly RNG dependent. It's all really based on the actions of this southernmost dog. I'm waiting up in this corner here for that dog we already saw here to patrol back to its starting position. This one at the south here, it can sometimes pursue you at various ranges, so sometimes it'll come after you a little bit sooner than before. Otherwise it'll wait until you're much closer.
For king and country.
And the strategy for getting past it is to lure it around this airfield to the south here. So what you would do is walk to this corner, wait for a second, and expect to see it start moving to the north like so, and sprint to the south.
For king and
But
country.
9 times out of 10, he's going to catch you, and it'll be game over. So what else can happen then? Well, sometimes the dog will abandon its pursuit of you. This seems to happen in my testing about 1 in 50 attempts, so that's why it's so RNG dependent. So for example here, the dog abandons its chase, but then you are within its pursuit range before you can make it any further south, and it will chase after you a second time. Before you can reach Tanya, it will have caught up, and it'll be mission failed again. So really then, it becomes a numbers game. You're waiting for the dice to roll in your favour twice in one run. There are so many things that can go against you. You're relying not only on the pathing of the dog, but also of your own spy. In my own observations on the successful and semi-successful runs I've had, oftentimes the pathing of the spy, when he takes the less direct route, is the ones where the dog gives up the chase. But after maybe an hour of attempts, I finally had a run where everything came together. First of all, the dog chose to pursue me. Secondly, he took the northern route around the airfield. Third, my spy's pathing wasn't too inefficient. And fourth, the dog gave up the chase. I actually thought I'd blown it by clicking on one of the infantry there to the north, but as you can see, the dog takes inefficient pathing to the south and for a second time, abandons the hunt. This allowed me to get close enough to the prison, and Tanya decided to free herself. Now, normally as you approach this in the convoy truck, the yaks to the north fly off, but in this instance they come directly for Tanya once she starts shooting up the prison complex. As quickly as possible you want to start moving Tanya to evade the strafing runs of the yaks overhead and begin moving her to the north. Take care of the infantry and dogs as quickly as possible, because you need to ensure that you push through to those airfields before the aircraft take off for a second run. Now sadly I was so unprepared for success when it finally happened here that I didn't have any sort of plan while approaching the base. You'll notice that I target here the aircraft that landed second. Had I gone for the other aircraft first, I would have pulled off this assault. But as it is, tragically, Tanya is killed immediately upon the second craft taking off. And so sadly, that's it. I stuck with it for another 2 hours, but that dog would always catch me before I could reach Tanya to the south. I had maybe another dozen or so semi-successful attempts where I was able to evade the dog in the first case, but then it would catch up with me before I could make it far enough south. And so I hand over this challenge to you. 3 hours spent on this was enough for me. Reaching Tanya that one time to confirm that it was indeed possible to pull this off was enough for me. I wish I was a little bit more prepared and made a quick save at that point just to take out the rest of the base a little bit more sensibly. But, tragically, that wasn't to be. But I'm putting this out there to all of you as a challenge. Can you do what I could not? Can you get Tanya freed from that complex without the use of the convoy truck, and then have her blast away to safety aboard the helicopter? Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope I've inspired some of you to give it a go. I'd love to hear about any success that you might have. Maybe you can refine my process and pick up on something that I had missed that give you a more reliable approach on the prison complex and past that final dog. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to check out some of the other Red Alert videos I've got on the channel. I just recently completed a chronological mission order playthrough, and I think you might enjoy it if you did this one.